On behalf of the Los Altos History Museum, welcome to the first of 10 Orchard Talks. The museum, we seek to inspire our community to care for and appreciate our historical assets. So here, I'll provide you with an overview of how we care for the Heritage Apricot Orchard, which is a historical landmark at the Los Altos Civic Center. The outpouring of support for the orchard was heartwarming when the city installed this orchard sign last year. And we were inspired to tell the story of how we currently care for the orchard. The orchard guidelines are a document that we prepared and we encourage you to read. Now I'll briefly introduce you to each of the sections in the guidelines. And this is basically the outline for our talk today. So we start out with the purpose, talk a bit about the historical context, discuss operations, summarize, and then extend our thanks to all who've helped with this endeavor. Our purpose is twofold. First of all, stewardship. How do we maintain the quality of this city landmark? And we've got 3 benchmarks. So first is aesthetic beauty. Second, historical heritage. And third, crop productivity. In addition, appreciation is really important. So we want to engage citizens in keeping alive the stories of the past and the present to envision our shared future. Now, our understanding of the orchard has been brought alive by the books, the talks, and the walks of Robin Chapman. She has helped us to really understand how in the early days, the orchard industry benefited from innovation. And innovation is certainly one of those strengths that we're proud of in the communities within Silicon Valley today. It all had its roots in the past with the orchards. The orchards have been for a century the major economic engine of this region. So from 1870 to 1970, in Santa Clara Valley, there were hundreds of thousands of acres of stone fruit orchards. And this orchard was originally planted by J. Gilbert Smith at the turn of the century. He expanded from 5 to 15 acres. In 1954, the new city of Los Altos needed a place for its civic center. So they purchased 8 acres of orchard from Smith, and they accepted a life estate for the home site, which is now the museum. Some of you may know it as the History House. So on this map of the Civic Center, down here in the lower right is the History House next to the museum. The History House and the orchard were established as a city historical landmark in 1981. And in 1991, the boundaries of the orchard were formally established, as shown here in orange. Now, there are additional apricot trees in the Civic Center campus, as shown in yellow here. And all of the apricot trees are under the care of our city orchardist. Now, as you can imagine, there are a variety of opinions about how this should be cared for. And so last year in 2019, the museum established the Orchard Commons Committee, whose purpose is to bring together the diverse voices to the same table. Our orchard is cared for by the city orchardist, who is currently Phil Deach. His company is A Farmer's Son. And there are a lot of things that he has to consider in terms of care for the orchard. Irrigation, pruning, weed abatement, tree replacement, soil enhancement, as well as how to control pests and pathogens, how to harvest the apricots, beautification, and coordination with Civic Center activities. So each of these topics is explained in a little bit more detail in the guidelines. And the other videos in our Orchard Talk series each talks about one of these topics. So you can pick the ones that you're interested in, and I encourage you to go explore them in more detail. Maintaining a working landscape within an urban environment is indeed a challenge, and it's one that we want to rise for. How are we going to do this? Well, in summary, the Heritage Orchard is an irreplaceable historic resource for Los Altos. It's one of only 3 remnant orchards protected by city governments. The other 2 are in Saratoga and Sunnyvale. Since it's city land, it's city responsibility, and the city contracts to the city orchardist to actually do the work. The city council is guided by the Los Altos Historical Commission. The operations are quite a list, and as you can imagine, the many ideas about how to accomplish this. So the Orchard Commons Committee has been formed to provide a forum for discussion of diverse perspectives. We invite you to share and care for this irreplaceable historic asset. And I want to thank those who have helped us do so. First of all, the Los Altos City Council for its wisdom in protecting the historical assets of our community. Secondly, the Historical Commission for providing advice to the City Council. The city staff who implements the decisions, and then our city orchardist who takes care of the trees. And he is advised by orchardists who care for lands that are both public and private throughout our region. And I also would like to thank those at the Los Altos History Museum, staff and volunteers who support the activities of the Orchard Commons Committee. We want to hear from you. What are we doing right? What could we do better? What questions do you have? So please email me, Jane, or you can send an email to the chair of the Orchard Commons Committee at hello@losaltoshistory.org. And I can send you a copy of the guidelines if you want to read that, and look forward to starting a dialogue about these topics. Thank you.